Hello, welcome to Kes Cravings Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making contemporary jollof rice from my Kes Cravings app. And when I'm about to cook, I usually will wet a towel and put it on the counter and place my chopping board on there. It prevents the chopping board from moving around. And my recommendation from cooking from a recipe, using a recipe, is to first read the recipe to understand what you're about to cook. And then the second time around, you weigh everything and measure and gather all your equipment. And that is what is called mise en place in the culinary world, or in culinary school. That was what we were taught. So I have pretty much everything measured: my oil, my onions, tomatoes, and carrots. So I'm gonna just dice it into a couple of pieces so that I can put it in the blender to blend. And it can be really smooth, or you can have a little bit texture. It all depends on what you want. So I have everything set and we're ready to cook. So after I'm done blending and cutting all my ingredients, I move over to the stove to start cooking. So I have half a cup here. And I like to measure my oil. It keeps you from, it prevents you from wasting a lot of oil and using too much oil. So guys, start with measuring your oil. And I'm gonna add in the onions and cook it until it's about 3 minutes. And while the onions is cooking, there are some spices in there: curry powder, bay leaf, and the spices listed on the recipe. But I have my jollof rice seasoning, which everything is in there, so you don't need to have the bay leaf and the curry and the nutmeg. You just use, I'm gonna eyeball it because I kind of know how much I need, but you just use about 2 tablespoons. And it's good to add your spices when you add your onions, not at the end of making the stew, so that all the oils and stuff in the spices, you can actually taste it. It's better to add it from the beginning. It's better to add it now than add it at the end of cooking your sauce. There you go. And then you have the carrots, bell pepper, ginger, garlic, and the tomatoes already blended. So you can just add it in there. And let it simmer for about 25 minutes until you start seeing the oil back. Okay, so as soon as you see little oil on top of the sauce, that means it's ready. You can add your salt. I don't eat a lot of salt, so I'm gonna just a little bit salt. Stir it, and I like adding 1 tablespoon of butter. It's all for flavor. There, and it's time to add your rice, and this is 3 cups of rice. That's what the recipe calls for. And at this point, there's not a lot of liquid from the sauce, so there's 2 cups of stock on the recipe. You add a little bit to the rice. And at this point, you can cover it up with a lid and let it cook for about 35 to 45 minutes. But I like baking my rice. So I have my casserole here. I'm gonna be pouring everything in here. It goes into a preheated oven, 350 Fahrenheit, for about 35 to 45 minutes. This contemporary jollof rice is done. And I do small portions, so I don't serve a lot of food. And we have our chicken mushroom chardonnay here. You can pair it with it, and it tastes really delicious with that. Add a little bit of the mushroom sauce. If you follow me, you know I love Brussels sprout. So I have here sauteed Brussels sprout. A little bit. You can add any vegetable of your choice. And I have some snow peas or sugar peas, sprouts, just for garnishing. And there you go. And this is where you drink a little bit of your Chardonnay. So you have to get good Chardonnay or good white wine to cook with so you can drink the leftover. Cheers.